in context was talking about when he says perfect. Verse 9, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did service, talking about that sacrificial service, could not make him perfect. The same thing we just read in 10, the sacrificial service, make him perfect as pertaining to the conscience. So he is saying that going to the altar with the animal and getting your sins covered for 1 year with the blood of that animal, that could never make you perfect as pertaining to your conscience. So he's talking about conscious mind. You could never get a perfect consciousness through this process of going to the altar and sacrificing an animal. Somehow you would always still be sin conscious. This was not to get it done. So okay, verse 2. For then would they have not ceased, if they got it done, for then they would not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshiper, once purged, should have no more consciousness of sin. So the system of bringing animals to the altar, if it worked, then you'd be purged and you would have no more sin consciousness. So even though they were bringing animals to the offering, make an offering of those animals, shedding the blood, and then your sins were covered for a year, it still wasn't enough to give you perfect conscience. You still had sin consciousness. Under the system of the sacrifices, you still had sin consciousness. Under the law, where you'd have to bring an animal to get your sins covered or atoned, you still had sin consciousness. All right, now look at verse 3. But in those sacrifices, there is a remembrance again made of sin every year. So every year you remember sin again. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sin. Did you see that? Blood of bulls and goats, he's impossible. It's not possible that the blood of bulls and goats can take away sins. Verse 5. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, now he's referring to Christ. All right? He's basically saying, henceforth, he, Christ, enters the world. And he said, sacrifices and offerings you have not desired, and instead you have made ready a body for me to offer. So now we're talking about the sacrifices that would never get rid of your sins versus the body now of Jesus Christ. Verse 6, in burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come to the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O God. Above, when he said, sacrifices and offerings and burnt offerings and offerings for sin, thou wouldest not, neither had pleasure therein, which are offered by law. So this was under the law that they were doing this. Verse 9. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O God. Taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. Check it out. Verse 9. In the Amplified, he then went on, say, behold, here I am coming to do your will. Thus he doth away with and annuls the first former order as a means of expiating. Let me get that right. Expiating sin, or expedient, getting rid of it, so that it might inaugurate, start for the first time, place of, and establish the second latter order. So the first order of dealing with sin was bring a sacrifice, shed the blood, get covered for you. He says we're going to get rid of that first order and bring in and inaugurate the second one. And the second one has nothing to do with the animal sacrifices. So now he's getting ready to explain to us about the second latter order. Now here's what I need you to see with the first one. It's amazing to me that people all agree we don't need to go get animals to an altar to shed the blood to get our sins taken care of. But the rest of the law we still do. All right, now watch this. He goes on here and he says in verse 10, by the which will we are sanctified. Underline that word. By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. Now, notice, we're sanctified how? All you got to do is read. You're sanctified how? All right, now listen. And in accordance with his will of God, we have made holy, consecrated, sanctified through the offering made once for all of the body of Jesus Christ, the anointed one. Now, through the body of Jesus, you and I have been made holy. How have we been made holy? Through the body of Jesus Christ. This new order is now for everybody. The old order is gone, and for everybody who will receive the new order, he said, I will make you holy through this order. And it ain't going to be no having to come every year. Through my body, you are made holy once. Now, this is what I noticed this. He said, notice the words for and all are italicized. Listen to this. Which would sanctify or make holy through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ. Now, the thing I want you to see is through the body of Jesus Christ, you've been made holy, been sanctified, you've been set apart, you've been set up. Notice, it's nowhere in here that says your holiness was based on what you do or what you did. Nowhere in it didn't say anything about your holiness is based on your conduct. It's just a plain sentence that says, through the offering of his body, you and I have been made holy. Can you say with confidence tonight, I'm holy? Now, you couldn't say that a while back. Because if you sat up here and said you're holy enough, you would consider your behavior. And right now, this is not something that's factored into what he's saying. Now, notice what he goes on. He goes on verse 11. And every priest, now this is very significant, and every standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifice, which can never take away sin. And if you can't take away sin, you can't take away sin comes. So they stand and they daily offer sometimes the same sacrifice. Furthermore, every human priest stands at the altar, ministering daily for the same sacrifices over and over again, which never are able to strip from every side of us the sins that envelop us and take them away. 12. But, something give a change. This man, Jesus, after he had offered one sacrifice, is the one sacrifice Jesus offered. Come on. His body. He offered his body. I'm going to ask it again. What's the one sacrifice Jesus offered? Come on. His body. But for this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins, forever, did what? He sat down on the right hand of God the Father Almighty. Now the priests in the first order, they stood up all the time, making the same sacrifices, and knew that none of these sacrifices would never take away sin. But Jesus, after offering one sacrifice, his body, sat down. What does that mean? We're done with it. We're done with it. It's finished. See, the law keeps wanting to take you back to your performance. It ain't going to do with your performance. You're done with it. There's a new order, and if you'll submit to that new order, you are done with it. One offering, which is his body, on the cross, sacrifice for your sins, sat down, because we're not doing this no more. We're not going to be like the priest that stood up daily. We ain't doing that no more. Jesus said, I'm only getting on that cross one time. That's it. I ain't climbing on that cross every time y'all mess up. He said, what I did was the cure-all. My sacrifice was the cure-all for your relationship with sin. And watch this. Oh, Jesus. All right. So the high priest stood up. Jesus sat down. From henceforth, he kept sitting down until his enemies be made his footstool. So this is awesome. He was waiting until his enemies should be made stool beneath his feet. So what he's provided, he says it's available for anybody who believes, anybody who wants it, come get it. Come on, get it. It's done. Come get it. Come and go with me.